Hey everyone, welcome to Front of the Apps. I'm Menti, and this is the Vehicle Overviews episode for Tank Tussle Season 5. Oh, and Cornholio has redeemed Treat the Cat, so let's go ahead and do that real quick. Here you go, buddy. Yeah, there you go. Alright, so let's go ahead and get our first entry here, which is A New Hope by Cornholio. The Peregrine and Dasbog. Now, we only have to look at like one tank for each of these because they're structurally identical. They might have different weapon loadouts, but we'll be able to see that in the one we load. So we'll only have to look at one vehicle per entry. But yeah, this one just it looks amazing. Hey, come back here. It just looks so cool. It's super fast and agile. And it's got that like pulsating brain thing in the middle. You know what? Stop. I say stop. Now, see, the thing is, this is not what the tank actually looks like. And it's also got like those balls that like come into it, like they're being absorbed. Yeah, this thing is ridiculously cool. Quit looking at his balls. Shut up, Brisby. I have no idea, Benjamin. But if you, it's a little cheeky because if you turn it to like drag, this is what it actually looks like. So all of this is mimicked. Right? So let's go ahead and take a look at the weapons. So it's 500 millimeter. Okay, so it's 500 millimeter AP frag heat. I'm actually taking notes on the entry so I can remember what things are outfitted with like during the tournament. Yeah, they're both AP frag heat shells. I don't know why there's two of them, but there is. So yeah, and then this thing is just so many wheels. So many wheels. And they're all drive wheels, which is nice because I didn't have to friggin' like go and look through to see like if any of these wheels have if any of them are blocked, because it's just really difficult to tell with all the mimics and everything. Man, I just love that effect. Yeah, I imagine it was pretty hard to build too. So yeah, we'll take a quick look at the cost in firepower. 11.38 APS firepower, 23.2% armor cost. Right, Dreekfire? And yeah. Oh, is it DIF with some loaders? That is a good question. It does not look like DIF, no. It looks like it actually has... Yeah, what am I doing? Let's turn off the mimics so I can actually see what's going on. So no, it doesn't look like it has any ammo intakes on the firing piece. And it's got the loaders in the backpack here. So yeah. Now this is being done in alphabetical order. But I will say that A New Hope by Cornholio got a 97.3, which is only 0.6 below the top entry, or the highest scoring entry. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see this thing fight. Next, we're going to move on to the Ancient Warriors Land Battlecruiser Duo by BRM. The HMLS Renown and Repulse, which, again, they're the same thing, so we'll just look at one of them. That's going to be the same for all of them, because that's just how the rules work. Yep, it's a land battlecruiser. Nice looking shippy design. Firing 1600 millimeter HE shells. I mean, Doom Agent will be able to see the different shells on the original vehicle because it'll have to have the, both vehicles will have to have the same ammo customizer, so we'll be able to see both shells. So there's no reason to load up the second vehicle just to see the other shell. Anyway, wait, we were already looking at the stats. So yeah, 6,300 kinetic, 26,151 HE damage. Well, I also don't know which ones have different shells, and this is going to take long enough as it is. So, just live with it, I guess. So yeah, all three of these guns are the same. We'll take a quick peek inside here once I get this. Ignores the ship girl, right? Anyway, inside, it's got fairly decent armor. It's mostly wood and stone, but there's some good spacing and thickness of it. It probably wouldn't do too well against its own weapons, but I mean that's kind of the definition of a battlecruiser. Yes, it is also large, so that helps. Indeed. The myriad of people who brought AP Heat are probably not going to like this thing. Because this thing is just going to kind of laugh at it. Unless they happen to, just golden BB the AI. That's always a possibility. But AP Heat doesn't have a whole lot of actual block stripping power. That's why you have 2 frags in there. Makes sense, makes sense. So yeah, that is the Ancient Warriors by BRM. Next up, oh right, the Ancient Warriors score was 78.6. Big in Japan by Desibagel. Yeah, this one's an interesting one too. It's where is it? There it is. It's a Zeppelin on a circular wheel thing.
We have one advantage that they sorely lack. Zeppelins!
So yeah, it rolls around on these sub-object mounted drive wheels on this circular thing. Has this Zeppelin aesthetic to it, and its gun is sideways, and it's firing 400mm AP heat. Some high penetrating AP heat. Pretty much the whole thing is a turret, yes. Hey, Greyfell. If this center pole gets broken, like, the tank just dies. Drag view? Okay. Nice main. You really like its main? Yeah, it's real. What was the AP on that AP heat shell? I should write that down, and I didn't. 40.6. No, not quite as much, Nutter Chap. Take a quick peek at the inside here, which it's kind of hard to see because of the decorations, but you can see it's not DIF. It's got a solid fire rate of 10 RPM. Yeah, well, it does have heat protection in the form of slopes in the front. Like, it has inner slope armor. But AP heat might be able to penetrate far enough in to then do its thing. Anyway, yeah, that's the Big in Japan. Or no, that's the... Oh, that was the Big in Japan. I skipped one. That's Big in Japan by Desibagel. Wait, where's... Oh, I know what's going on here. I bet you it's... Yeah, I have it written down on my notes as Antlions by Cheesebag, but it's the Antlions on the file name, so... So these are pretty cool looking vehicles. I like these ones. You can see it's got railgun stuff going on. Oh, looks like it broke a block off itself. So, 175 millimeter cannon, 5.5 RPM, kind of a slow fire rate. Firing APHE. With a lot of kinetic damage in AP. There were mixed reactions to the ship girl. Too much clothing on the ship girl. Jesus Christ. Right, how much HE damage does it have? Only 911. It will pen. It will pen. with 16,000 kinetic damage and 59 AP, gonna be a little hard to stop that shell. But even if it does get in, it's gonna have to get right next to the squishy bits to do anything, because only 911 explosive damage. Take a quick peek inside. Got more slope armor for heat and hesh protection. Doesn't really have it on the side, but it does have wheel armor for the side, which will, you know, help against like heat and hesh. If I remember correctly from the Gatekeeper test, though, this thing does not like getting shot in the turret. It has a tendency to lose its gun, like the first time it gets shot in the turret. So yeah, those are the Antlions by Cheesebags. Next are Civilian Targets by Owo. Yes, somebody actually named themselves Owo. So, as usual, same things. And it's a building. Well, it's a complex of buildings. And most of these they're just empty. An FTD village attacks you, right? And then it's got these missiles. Wow, Cornholio, that's a strong opinion. Whole new meaning to housing crate. All the friggin' house puns. I see, Nutter. I honestly had never heard of Owo before they submitted this tank, so yeah. So 43.7% armor cost, basically 15 firepower and missiles. They're all these HE medium HE missiles, you know, laser guided on these poles. This entry will not like the pure HE entries. Yeah, there is a good chance that it... I mean, this thing barely moves as it is. What about U apartment complex? But yeah, the entries that are bringing like pure HE shells are going to rip this thing apart. But the missiles are fairly potent at 3,500 HE damage medium missiles. What's going on? I'm obviously missing something. What's going on here? Yeah, like 3,500 isn't a lot, but when there's 6 of them, 7 of them. You know, that's a 21,000 HE damage per volley. Anyway, those are the civilian targets by OO. Next, we've got the Cornerstone by Knifecoon with the Unfair Plane and the Kemp Bush. These things look pretty cool, too. It's got this turning drive wheel in the back. It's like a tripod. Let's see, it's got 350 millimeter. Texture hasn't loaded yet. It's got a bunch of different shells, and I think they all of them except the heavy head one get used. So we got AP frag. Yeah, it is not terribly stable now. Hollow point. And Hesh. Sabo? What are you talking about? Was there Sabo? Oh yeah, it had a Sabo warhead. The Sabo warhead body are fine. It's the Sabo head that's banned. So yeah, that is perfectly legal. And it's 10.89 firepower with 43.2% armor cost. Because with Sabo heads reducing the effect of angled armor effectiveness, Nutterchap, I felt like it would just make people make box tanks that wouldn't be interesting to look at because Sabo can just cancel out their sloping, so why bother with it? But then because Sabo heads weren't allowed, that's why I also banned wedges, because wedges would be really, really strong without Sabo to counter it. That was the reasoning behind banning Sabo heads. That ignores the ultimate endgame drip. I know, right? I've started, like, for a long time I didn't care about that stuff, but I've been playing Final Fantasy XIV more, and I've been spending a lot more time and in-game money. I haven't spent, like, real money on, gear for looks purposes. Glams, they call them in that game. Endgame is fashion. Indeed. Anyway, that's the Cornerstone by Knife Coon. Oh, Dreekfire, your Knife Coon? Okay, good to know. It still looks cool. Like, it's a bit boxy and it has hard edges, but it still looks interesting to look at. It's not just a box. Yep. Kramatorsk, Blood and Rust by Harness 1977. So as you can see, same as usual. Oh god, that's loud. That was loud for me. It's a very Mad Max looking train-like vehicle with 6 cram cannons. Yes, it's quite fast. It's doing 53 meters per second right now. So the cram stats are this. 6 time 2000 millimeter crams, 19k kinetic damage, 17k HE. And if I remember correctly, all 6 of them are identical. Let me double check. Yeah, they're all identical. Yeah, the reload time is quite high, but it hits quite hard. Because remember, there's going to be 2 of these vehicles. So that's 12 of those guns firing in the, in a volley. That's going to mess things up if all 12 of those shells hit. Armor scheme, mostly stone. No thanks, says I can function. Yeah, it's very Mad Max seeming. Like that's what it makes me think of. But it's a very cool entry. Did we look at this? So it has 7.67 cram firepower, but man, is that misleading. (41.4% armor cost). Yeah, I don't know why these only have 1.28 firepower. I guess because they're really long reload. Anyway, that's the Kramatorsk by Harness 1977. Next up is The Curse of Walter Chang by the Brisby Mouse. Which, this one... So... Yeah, my cat alarm is going off quite a bit in the background. Yeah, he does that. So, Walter Chang is if I remember correctly, is a character from the Tremors movie, the first Tremors movie. I believe he was the shopkeep, like the general store owner. And this is Brisby's rendition of a graboid. He's the one who named the graboids? Okay. It's been a long time since I saw that movie, so some details may escape me. Yes, I'm talking. That doesn't mean you have to meow back. But one thing that's interesting about this vehicle is it uses harpoons, because Brisby is always about being off meta. But that's you know, it's just one harpoon. It's not a huge deal. What is a huge deal is the packing on this thing. Yes, it's a doom cram. This thing gets up to something like 210,000 HE damage. Granted, it doesn't fire that, because as you can see, it only has 40 pellets. That is really funny if it hits. Well, that's what the harpoon and the breadboard is for. Like, this thing doesn't fire until it hooks you, drags you in, and you're like point blank and it can't miss. You want to see that in action? Well, you will eventually. Well, I guess what I could do, just because it would be kind of funny to watch, is just load in. It doesn't matter which one I load in. Just load in another one on the other team. They harpoon each other, drive in, BLAM!
Ninja, you bastard!
Hello, bot. Goodbye, bot. Just, yeah. That was 25% damage in a single shot. No, simple weapons were not allowed, Panic Tomcat. Yeah, that is the thing, Nutter Chap. These things are very fragile. So, if it doesn't kill you in the first volley, you're probably going to win. But we'll see how it goes in the actual tournament. So yeah, that's the Curse of Walter Chang by the Brismy Mouse. Next up, we've got Death and Taxes by Cthulhu N. By the way, we have a total of 27 entries this tournament. It can kill you in the first volley, yes. Yes, it can, Eigen. But if it doesn't, it's in trouble. Yes, 27, Nutter Chap. Death and Taxes has these things called silly little guys. They got googly eyes, arm-mounted missiles, I think, or is that just a? Oh, That's why I couldn't go to it, because I spawned it on the Dustwind Gypsies. Are those actual missiles? I forget. Yep, they are thump frag missiles. But look at their googly eyes. They mean no harm at all. Yeah, of course. Let's see. What gauge were these again? 400 millimeter. Basically frag. It's got a heavy head, but really, they're basically frag. They have a lot of kinetic damage, but no real AP to speak of. Lots of fragment damage. Yes, we'll be great against wood spam. Indeed. Heck, even stone won't like this too much, so the two entries that come to mind that won't like this gun are the Ancient Warriors and the civilian targets. Hey, Pyrotech. You missed the first 8 entries. 9 entries. Something like that. You missed with a cannon, right? We'll take a quick peek inside here. Guerrilla warfare, the entry. Yeah, it actually has wood for armor on these slopes and such, but they're mimicked over with metal. Or not mimicked, decoed. No strafing wheels. Actually, this is... Oh, I thought this was still a... It must be this one. This one actually is a turning wheel. So it does have some strafing capabilities, and these are deco things, so it's not actually blocking the wheel. The wheel is only connected by the top. Oh, don't worry, Dreekfire. There's plenty of Hesh. We just haven't gotten to it yet. But yeah, this gun is a fixed gun. It is not on a turret. But it goes pew. So yeah, that's Death and Taxes by Cthulhu Wen. Next, we've got the Diddy-moi Toxotes by Peregrine. I have no idea if I pronounced that right. Why are there 4 of them? Hold on. What happened here? Uh-oh. Oh, I know what happened. Okay, I got it. Yeah, so this... Oh. Why did you do that, computer? I just moved the new version into the old version, and since they didn't have the same name, they didn't overwrite. So yeah, it's the A3s. I deleted the A2s just so there wouldn't be any confusion later on. Because knowing me, I'd managed to spawn the wrong one in. Where's the gun barrel? There it is. It's pointing into the ground right now. Anyway, it's firing 348 millimeter. Hesh. We were just talking about how there will be Hesh, and there you go. Besh, yes. Big Hesh. 100,000 spalling damage with 5,000 thump. Why? Oh, because I have to unpause it. That's why. Yeah, with 8 RPM basically. With 2 of them, they can pound in some damage with that Hesh shell. And they've got a very streamlined look to them. Now it's happy. This has pretty good Hesh protection too, with heavy armor slopes in the front. Though, it's probably not going to like AP heat too much. Because the AP heat will punch through here, hit this, the heat will go off, and then just go straight through that heavy armor beam into the gun. So AP heat will probably do pretty well against these. Because Hesh can hit the roof. Oh yeah, if Hesh hits like right here, it'll shoot down this way. It's just basically straight into the gun. Because it goes perpendicular to the angle of the armor, right? Hesh mortar, right? This is why I took the high ground, right? And then just got some drive wheels. And yeah, so 14.19 firepower, 58.5% armor cost. Laughs in Harpoon. Then we've got the Gentleman Bugs by Unipoo as our next thing. With Marquis Red Mandible and the Earl Yellow Elytron. It's a ladybug. But it's a gentleman ladybug. We've got 179 millimeter. 179 millimeter. Does it use all of those? It does indeed use all of them. So it's got a Hesh frag shell. AP heat. And HE. .08 firepower with 32.2% armor cost. That .18 missile must be interceptors. It must have interceptors, but this thing is pretty much all gun. If you actually penetrate its armor, you're going to hit the gun, more or less. Not sure why these slopes are facing inward like that. Like I feel like they would be better if they were, you know, like that. Well, anti-Hesh, that's not really going to save you from Hesh. If it hits down here, it's just going to up into the gun. I suppose. I would have done it the other way for anti-Hessian heat, but I guess you do have the applique panels here for that. But yeah, anyway, it does have ring shields, or a ring shield anyway. That is adding 7.7 AC front. Oh no, it's right left, and then up down is 6.1. Yeah, there's probably one on the right, one on the left, and then one on the bottom. Yep, 3 ring shields. Risky side rings, right? Yeah, Yes, very good score on the looks. That is definitely a ladybug. Very dapper, yes. So that is the Gentleman Bugs by Unipoo. Next, we've got the GHS by Sean Reed. It's a gentleman bug. Right? Which is pretty cool, but this thing is really top heavy. And likes to flip over. More bugs in this tournament than in the game. Jeez, that's saying something. So it's firing 39 millimeter. 39 millimeter. Another multi-shell. So it's got frag and Hesh. Take a quick peek inside here. Another ring shield. Adding 8.6 front back armor class. Yeah, another chap, and that's gonna bite them in the side or the ass, one of the two. Against some of these entries. All right. That's the GHS by Sean Reed. Pretty cool looking tank, though. It's got such a big turret for its body. Anyway, moving on to the Just the Two of Us by Ally. The XT-77 Israel Hands. Which, speaking of things having big turrets for their body, yeah, it's a bit cubey. That's not a tank, it's an artillery piece. Yeah, this one was... I had to really consider whether I wanted to allow the aesthetics on this one, but it just barely makes it, because it does have... Like, the turret does have some interesting features on it. Like the, with the indents and the slopes on the top and the camo. But the body is just a flat platform. I wouldn't say... Oops, I just exploded it. Let me repair that. I wouldn't say easily pleased. I wouldn't say I'm pleased with this. It's more like I'm just barely accepting of it. What? What are you talking about, Brisby? Anyway. It's firing Hesh. 500mm Hesh. Oh, it's a World of Tanks joke. Right, now I get it. I haven't played that game in like a decade. At 0 meters per second, according to the customizer. Yeah, that's because it doesn't have the rail draw. It's a It's a railgun. It's a pure railgun. It's not a burp gun. But no, it does not fire burp. It fires at the RPM listed there. It's just a pure railgun. They didn't use any gunpowder. Regurgitation not achieved. No, definitely not. And we'll take a quick look here. 19.93 firepower, 52.2% armor cost. So yeah, that is just the two of us by Ally. Next, we've got the Kapasheki by Random Player. What was the shell speed on the... Let me load it back in real quick, and we can look at the shell speed. It is 425 meters per second. Whoops, wrong one. This is a very plain tank, but at least it is, you know, it is tank shaped. .250mm shells at 43.3 RPM. Whoops. Firing Hesh. Oh, did they leave it at the required... Oh, yep. That's a high RPM. What were the... How much, like, spalling damage and... 21,000, 1,000... Yeah, like, it's not a lot of damage, but there's a lot of shells. That might, Brisby putting the paint in the painting, right? But there'll be a lot of them. It's pretty fast firing. It's by Random Player eigenfunction. It's a weak spot tester? Yes. Yes, indeed. And I see a weak spot of its own. There's a... Oh, I guess it just goes into the side armor, so it's not too bad. But if it were to get shot by, like, AP heat from this angle, it'd be in trouble. Because I'd go straight into the AI. Pretty solid frontal armor. Side armor is decent, too. Combination of wheel and sloped armor for Hessian heat protection. Also heavy armor beams on the side, and even some heavy armor in the rear. Yeah, it's an all-around armor scheme, indeed. So we've got 15.6 firepower with 51.4% armor cost. It's a tank, indeed. Next up is Nutterchap. Nutterchap's limitations encounter, lack of inspiration, and low on time. I feel you on those, Nutterchap. That was basically why I don't have an entry this tournament. Looks familiar, doesn't it? Yes, these are DIF mortars. Firing pure HE rounds. Well, not mortars, but they look like it. What's wrong? Oh, some of them launch to HE, some of them launch... So, like, the outer ones do HE, and then the middle ones are heat? Yep, that's exactly what it is. I figured it out. I don't like being hit on the roof, right? Then the main gun is a 1850mm cram. Whoops, I just deleted the barrel. But it's a very cool looking tank. Very neat looking vehicle. It is definitely a tank. Let it run. I'm not holding it back, another trap. It's just not doing anything. Fine. Spawn something in. Oof. Those be cram parts. Frontal armor got messed up. Yeah, it does seem like it may have lost its ammo. Oh, it's getting repaired by me. Oh yeah, it's sliding around. It is quite fast, yeah. Slip sliding away. Yep, exactly. Anyway, that is the limitations encountered by Nutter Chap. Next up, we've got the Of Chonk and Tanks by Eigenfunction. Which is another sort of spread out base with a big ass turret on it. Oh, wrong team again, yeah. I always do that. Like, even when I'm building and testing, I will forget to friggin' change the teams. So 6.4 RPM, 500mm. Does it use both shells? Yes, it does. It's got APHE and hash. take a quick peek inside. No ejectors, I notice. Should have painted it red so it goes faster. Or purple so you can't see it. Yeah, whoop. And then we've got 15.798 firepower with 38.5 armor cost. So that's the of Chang tanks by Eigenfunction. And next we go to the most smartass entry in the tournament, the Overwedge by Van Haar. So you know how I banned wedges? This thing is made to look like it is just covered in wedges. It doesn't actually have any wedges. They're all decorations. And the thing that made me pause the game from laughter when I was testing it, well, I mean, do I even have to explain? It's a thump missile that is mimicked or decoed or whatever, however you want to say it, to look like a freaking wedge. Wedge is strong with this one. Right? And it hurts. Like, look at that. We'll look at the damage in just a second. If it hits, yes. Well, this is Van Haar. Remember, this is the guy who did Overrain, who managed to make shells that would fly directly above the target and then detonate downwards into it. He has made an aiming breadboard for this that is pretty dang good at actually hitting its target. Torpedo computer, yes, basically. So let's look at the missile. 448 meters per second with 325 impact damage per meter per second, which comes out to, let me get the calculator here, 325 times 145,600 thump damage. But yes, this thing was extremely hard to actually inspect because it's just mounted so weirdly. There are a few people who have some like interceptors, Zep, but not enough to stop a large thump missile. Maybe, I don't. I do not know. Knife Kun. So yeah, it's got 10.9 firepower, 62.4% armor cost. with those really big, heavy thump wedges. When I saw that, I was like, "You smartass!" I literally said, "You smartass" out loud when I saw that and just started laughing. So that was the Overwedge by Van Har. Next is the Perfectly Normal Repair Vase by Reaver, which I'm not sure why it's called that with the boomstick and the overwelded, because I mean they look like tanks. They more like an IFV really, but oh gosh, dang it. Cope cages on the side, yes. And yes, it's got a little 40mm 120.8 RPM autocannon here that fires heat rounds. But that's not its only weapon. It also has, some interceptors. It also has, it's decoed to look like a missile and look like an ATGM, but it's actually a 500mm AP heat. Or no, 416mm, sorry. Take a quick peek inside at the armor. Got some heavy armor slopes. Is really protecting against that AP heat and Hesh. Got heavy armor slopes on the sides too, but no solid like beams except these metal ones here. Combined with Wolf, it doesn't have making one, right? Even in the back. And even some top armor too. But it's all slope armor. There's very little in the way of actual like beams. Well, the first time Hesh hits, it'll destroy these outer slopes, and then the Hesh will spray into these heavy armor beams. Then the second time it gets hit, it's going to hit these heavy armor beams and spray the other heavy armor beams. Or heavy armor slopes, I mean, sorry. Hey, Tyrannus. So, we've got 11.24 firepower with 32.7% armor cost. And that is the Perfectly Normal Repair Base team by Reaver. Next, we've got Pyramid Scheme by Wootness. The Khufu and Khafre. Which, I mean, it's a pyramid. But the pyramid thing is deco. It's not real. Like, if I try to click on it, it just makes a new vehicle. Someone called Stargate 1, right? Or SG-1, right? And it is firing 300mm. To the point, boom, splat, and spicy, apparently. Does it actually use all those shells? Does not use to the point. What is to the point? It's a thump shell. Okay. But boom is pure HE. Splat is frag. And spicy is Hesh heat. Okay. Does it have a DIF? No. That's its only gun, I believe. There's this dude reclining up here. Just chilling on the pyramid. It actually is quite difficult to see these things. Whoops. Like, if I detach the camera so it's not in the center, it is quite camouflaged. Like, you can see it, but it's pretty camouflaged. And I believe that's the only weapon it's got. 9.65 in APS. What's this thing? What's this APS's firepower? 9.65. So yeah. The hills have guns, right? Anyway, 9.82 firepower, 50.1% armor cost. Let's take a look at the armor scheme real quick. Taking a peek inside as we do. It's got some applique outer armor on the turret, and then some slopes and some beams and some poles. Cornholio's favorite thing. And some more slopes and poles. And then the gun. Got the AI down in here. And it looks like it's basically the same armor on the sides. Maybe a little bit thinner. There's no poles on the side. Anyway, yeah, that's the pyramid scheme by Wootness. Who, by the way, went to the trouble of figuring out how to fix the issue with custom battles, where if you're moving away from the closest vehicle, like it only counts moving towards the closest vehicle, not any vehicle. He figured out a way to fix it and posted that fix as a bug report to the devs. So hopefully they actually take that and, fix that problem with the custom battle mode. And, everybody give Wootness a thanks for the time and effort for doing that. Woot woot, yes, exactly. So then we've got Pirate Attachment by Pyrotech with the Carmetafaras. Another strafing tank. Firing 386 millimeter. .386mm AP heat. As it should be, Tyrannus. Ciabatta was the working name. Right, because it looked like a, what do they call it? Cuban sandwich. I remember seeing those pictures. It is quite a lot of gun. Does not look like it would really enjoy taking AP heat hit to the side. But it's fast and maneuverable enough that it might be able to keep enemies from getting its side. From the front, it's using wedge fronts and backs, which are legal. Only the plain wedges were banned. It's going slideways. So yeah, it's got 13.49 firepower, 46.1% armor cost. Very interesting entry here. It does have a golden bullet thing. I just realized that I had started out giving the scores for every entry and then just kind of forgot and stopped doing it. It's like, oops. Pirate Detachment had a 92.1. Yeah, I'm just gonna stop doing that because it's yeah. You can see the relative scores just by looking at the seeds on the challenge bracket. Needed the firing arc for the 3-meter mantlet. Yeah, it makes sense. Anyway, that's the Pirate Detachment by Pyrotech. Then we've got the Quasi-Quasars by Kuchin Chips. The green and the blue Quasi-Quasar, which is another big flat platform with a giant turret on it. Now this one does actually have some shaping and features to it, which is nice. Didn't mention my 0.3 score. Right. Right, Pyrotech. Firing 500mm Russian characters that I can't read, which is Hesh. So we'll take a quick look at the armor scheme, which the hull, yeah, it's just, it's a plate. Typical Soviet bias, right? Right, it's got ERA, a layer of metal, more ERA. No, the engines aren't exposed underneath. They're sitting. Wait, nope, they are exposed. Never mind. They are indeed exposed. More ERA. Lots of got some anti-Hesh measures here. ERA for heat. Then these slope blocks with wood backing with more heavy armor slopes behind them for Hesh protection. Reminds you of the blizzards from last time? Yeah. 15.94 firepower. Oh, excuse me. 15, 16 firepower seems to be pretty common. Let's see. I've been taking notes this time, Tyrannus, on like weapons and stuff, so I can remember during the tournament. So let's see, how many Hesh do we have so far? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8-ish entries that fire Hesh. We are most of the way through, though. There's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 entries left. Yeah, this way, when somebody goes, "What's that tank firing?" I can just look at my notes and tell them. Instead of going, "I don't remember." Alright, that is the Quasi-Quasars by Kuchin Chips. Next, we've got the Razorback by Doom Agent, which is the highest scoring entry in the tournament. That's cheating. It's called being prepared, Cornholio. Which is a very, like, razor blade looking tank firing 320 millimeter APHE heat. What was it? 320 millimeter APHE heat. Electric hair clipper attachments? Yes. Yes, indeed. I see someone else found the very efficient anti-Hesh armor scheme. My cat walked on my keyboard shell name. Yeah, let's take a quick peek at the armor scheme. Got slopes in the front. The engine is very forward mounted, at least one of the engines. It may have multiple. Yep, it has two just in the front. And then so it has four engines, but they're all pretty forward mounted. Then the gun's in the back. Battery for the railgun there. Another bot, I see. Go away. There's a backup fifth engine. Jeez. Where's the fifth engine? One, two. You painted everything on the inside black, so it's hard to see. Anyway. 11.65 firepower, 33.4% armor cost. It's, let me look at this again. 18k kinetic, basically, with 42 AP, 1500 explosive, some high penetrating but rather low damage secondary heat. But yeah, that's the Razorback by Doom Agent, who, like I mentioned before, scored the highest score against the Gatekeeper. Next up, Sheesh by Equalizer. Which apparently is going to do circles when there's no enemy to shoot at. So it has two 18mm guns firing at 1100 RPM each. Two times 18mm. And they are firing Hessian Hesh. Oh, that's for 60mm. They're firing 18mm. I was going to say, that's a lot of spalling damage for the rate of fire. Yeah, this is the does your tank have a weak point tank. 2 degrees, isn't it? Is it? Yep, required accuracy before fire 2 degrees. 3 explosive damage, yes. Next, got a lot of wood frontal armor. So Hesh is going to go straight through that, but then he's got heavy armor square corners and slopes to catch the fragments. That's the sound of 2,000 mosquitoes splatting on your armor scheme, right? For the side armor, it's not going to like getting shot in the side by AP heat. Yeah, then the firepower is 31.27 firepower, which I think is the firepower record so far. I don't think anything's going to beat that, though. 27.1% armor cost. Are these? I believe it's it's belt fed to reach that fire rate. So yeah, that's Sheesh by Equalizer. Next, we've got Shooty and Fruity by Scythophane. Which, they're the same, just different colors. Which this is another one where I was kind of like, should I let this in? Because it is box, but it is a shaped box. But, yeah. I think, if I remember right, what sold me on it was the ladder in the back. I was like, okay, fine. It's good enough, I guess. So it fires 500 millimeter. Oh, wait, no, that's not it. AP frag. Give me ladder and I'm happy. Again, wouldn't say happy. And that's APHE, but it doesn't seem to be used. Yeah, it doesn't seem to be used. It might be used on the other one or something. What was the other one? It was APHE, wasn't it? Yeah. Alright, let's take a quick look at the armor scheme. Probably very heavy frontal armor. So metal beam, heavy armor pole, then an engine. This looks sort of familiar. This is how Doom Agent's vehicle was set up, the Razorback. And then gun. So that's not good. AP heat, if it manages to punch through this heavy armor beam, doesn't get through this pole, can then spray components through the engine into the gun. And it does not look like they have ejectors. So that'll be a kaboom. If that happens. And side armor, oof. It has some metal poles, some wood, and then some metal beams. Like, APHE can get through that. So yeah, that's probably going to be a problem. The poles are enough for you to like it, of course, Cornhole. Yeah, of course. All right, let's take a look at the firepower. 12.57, 44.7% armor cost. Makes for some good fireworks at least. Yeah, true. And that is Shooty and Fruity by Scythophon. Next we've got Seminostro with 2 Dolbo tanks, Biba and Boba. Which has this 236mm main gun firing frag. What in the goddamn? Oh, Mitch, that response. Then it has 7 500mm DIF guns. Firing Hesh. Take a look at the armor scheme. Well, she's got heavy armor, then heavy armor, then metal, then heavy armor, then metal, then metal, then heavy armor. I'm sensing a pattern here. They're all slopes though, except there is one thing of beams like in the middle. Side armor. Not gonna like AP heat. What's the spalling? Oh, on the 500mm? Let's look. I don't... 393,848. And there's 7 of them per tank. Yeah, those shells will hurt if they hit. No doubt about it. And then we've got 9.73 firepower with 50% armor cost. You know? Okay, next up, we've got the Wascally Wabbits by Dugan, who have a bunny-like aesthetic, sort of, with a cannon on the back, but that's not the weapon. In order for me to show you this thing properly, I have to, whoops, put a complex controller down, because this thing, I had to have Dugan install this system for me so that I could lift up the back of the rabbit and look at what's going on. Because it fires 2 large thump missiles. Or no, it's a thump and a heat. Out of this contraption. Now, I had to have this installed because, well, let me just show you. Let me just show you why I had to have him install that that logic for me. Because when it actually fires, you know, we didn't get to see it on the other one. Come on, do it. You can do it. It just zips up. It just goes boing, fire, bonk. And I could not tell if it was clipping anything because it moves so fast. So I had to have him install that logic so that I could look and see what was going on, because otherwise I couldn't verify the legality of it. Also, yes, they are fast and strafey. Oh, that was close. Oh, that was a... I think that was a hit. Or maybe it hit the ground. No, that was... No, that's still 100%. So yeah, there wasn't any way for me to verify the legality of the moving parts because they moved so fast. Oh, and it's dead. What do you mean, Pyrotech? Ah. Yeah, no, I'm not going to ban this, because it's... He was talking to me about it every step of the way, and I was giving feedback, and for me to ban it now, when it's not technically breaking any rules that exist, would be kind of mean. I see, Doom Agent. Well, it'll be something we can discuss for future tournaments, but for this one, it's going to be allowed. Yeah, exactly, Pyrotech. You got it exactly. It likes to bounce around a lot when there's no enemies. It does a little victory dance. I have never seen it hit the ears. They might be Deco. That could be why they aren't getting hit. Yeah, they're not real. Or, wait, hold on. Wow, heck, none of this stuff up here is real. This is all Deco. Yeah, that's the actual shape of the tank. Very basic and would have gotten rejected if it looked like this. Okay, we've got one more vehicle. And that'll be the Zabroyo by Tyrannus. Which is a Roomba. Yes and no. Well, yes, Tyrannus. Well, yeah. It's not completely... Oh, I spawned it on the wrong frickin' team again. It's not entirely DIF, if I remember correctly. Because while, yes, it does fire 500mm party shells, it's AP Heat Frag HE. Once it fires, so it has that shell loaded. It has that shell we just looked at loaded, and then it has a single ammo intake on the firing piece that fires that same shell. Then it actually has loaders in the back. So it can have continuous fire later that fire 3-meter Hesh. So once it gets its 2 big volleys off, it isn't just dead in the water as far as weapons are concerned. Hybrid diff, yeah. Makes sense. That's a good name for it. And it has how many of these per tank? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Is that 8? That's gotta be. No, it's 7. No, it's 8. Per tank. There's 2 of them. One local weapon controller per pair of guns, too. Nice. Where's the front of this thing? I'm on the turret, so it's hard to tell. The front is this way. Okay. Not that it really matters, because this thing just kind of rotates and moves how it wants. Because, you know, it's Roomba. But yes, it's got a lot of wood with then poles and wheel armor. Any side forward. Yes, exactly. Anything with poles is good armor, huh, Cornholio? And it's got dual ring shields. Yep, here's one. Forward, backwards, front, right, and left for 8.9 AC. That's nice, with all that wood. Wait for what, Brisby? I'm waiting, Brisby, but I'm not going to wait much longer. Oh, I didn't show the bottom meme, right? I'll go back to it real quick. Alright, so let's do this. 11.77 firepower, 31.7% armor cost. I thought the AC boost, Tyrannus, I believe the AC boost only applies to the outermost block, but it does update when a block is destroyed. So when a block is destroyed, the block behind it becomes the outermost block and gets the boost. So effectively every block gets the boost, but for some things that distinction is important, like Hesh. Really? Let us test this. Because, yeah, obviously this one's going to have the AC boost. See, it's not showing it now. For this block, it's... Well, it's 9.6. That's not the normal AC of a wood block, is it? What's the normal AC of a wood? It's 8. Why is it 9.6? Oh, because of stacking. Because stacking, yeah. Yeah, if you're just looking at it, because when you're in build mode, it doesn't care what block you have selected. It cares what block you're looking at. And if you're outside the tank, it's always looking at the outside block. So yeah, that hasn't changed. But it does update when blocks are destroyed, like instantly. So for the purposes of like a penetrating kinetic shell, every block gets it. But then for like Hesh, it doesn't stack the AC on every single block to which causes the AC to be boosted, or the AP of the Hesh fragments to be boosted. Anyway, Brisby wanted me to show the bottom meme of the Curse of Walter Chang, because I did forget to do that. I thought it did. I guess I could be wrong, Doom Agent, but I thought it did. I thought it updated as soon as the block was destroyed. But maybe... Let me just... I'm just remembering what ships those are and what happened in the battleship brawl with them. Anyway. So yeah, that is all the entries. We've gone through them all. It only took 2 hours. And this time I have notes for all of them. So yeah, that'll be it for this episode and for the stream today, folks. And as long as the fight of accelerators, yes, I know, right? Jesus, those things were ridiculously bad. Oh well, we've got to feed the fuzzy ones, so we've got to do that. You're a good cat. I grabbed the treat bag, and he just immediately sat because I've taught him to sit for treats. And Allie got her treat too. Yeah, you got a treat, huh? Yeah. So, yep, and this is the arena. The entire arena is loaded in. How do exhibition entries work? Now that the Panther shush. Now that the submission period is over, you can submit exhibition entries. They have to more or less follow the rules of the tournament. But like small things, I'll probably let slide. I won't be as strict on them as long as they're interesting and they promise an interesting fight. And you just submit them to me and tell me you want to put it as an exhibition entry, and people can request exhibitions against it. You're looking at it right now, Brisby. That's my unfinished entry. I didn't lay a single block. Not one. You win. Perfect camouflage, right? The most I did was put down an ammo customizer and tinker with some shell data. That's like that's the furthest I got in building for this tournament. Sometimes the winning move is not to play at all, right? Anyway, that'll be the end of the stream and end of this episode, folks. Thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you on the battlefield.